Modern armored fighting vehicles often mount fixed array of short-range, single-shot grenade launchers as a means of defense. These devices usually fire smoke grenades to conceal the vehicle behind the smoke screen, though they can also be loaded with flares or anti-personnel grenades to repel infantry attacks. The earliest examples of these devices were developed by the German army before World War II. The first such device was the Nebelkerzenabwurfvorrichtung, or the smoke candle release device. It was typically found on German tanks from 1939 until early 1942. It was a rear-mounted grenade dispenser which carried 5 smoke grenades. The tank commander released the grenades one at a time by wire control, which operated a ratchet coupled to a camshaft. Each pull of the control wire rotated the camshaft 1/5 of a turn, releasing a smoke grenade. 5 pulls on the control wire would release all 5 smoke grenades in succession, enabling the vehicle to reverse out of sight into its own smoke screen, with the grenades discharging smoke for about 100 to 200 seconds. Later examples were fully enclosed in an armored box. The device was discontinued from early 1942 because it had not proven to be effective. The main disadvantage being that the resulting smoke screen built up behind the vehicle and not in front of it. The device was succeeded by the turret-mounted Nebelwurfgerät, or smoke throwing device. It was found on the majority of German tanks from early 1942 until mid-1943. The device was mounted in 2 sets of 3, one on each forward side wall of the turret, with each launcher being 9 cm in caliber by 15 cm in length. The uppermost launcher tubes were oriented forward and angled slightly outwards, while the middle and lower tubes were set on a progressively lower elevation but increasing angle. 6 smoke grenades were carried, 1 in each launcher tube. The grenades were electrically fired from 6 push buttons. These buttons were grouped in 2 sets of 3, located in the turret to the left and right of the commander's position and forward of his cupola. No spare smoke grenades or launcher tubes were carried. If all 6 grenades were fired, or the launchers were damaged, the vehicle could not use the screen in the battle again. Complete Nebelwurfgerät were mounted by the assembly plants from October of 1942. During a reported action in February of 1943, enemy small arms fire had set off the smoke grenades inside their launcher tubes, resulting in the temporary blinding and incapacitation of the tank crew. Because of this hazard, the Nebelwurfgerät was no longer mounted after June of 1943, and the device was eventually supplanted by a new device, the Nachverteidigungswaffe, or the close defense weapon. This was a roof-mounted, breech-loaded, single-shot, multi-purpose rotating grenade launcher that could fire a variety of ammunition. It was typically found on German tanks such as the Panzer IV, the Panther, the Tiger I, and the Tiger II from early 1944 until the end of the war, and it was intended to replace all the previous devices. It was a relatively simple breech-loaded launcher tube oriented at a 50 degrees angle and fitted in a mounting of the turret roof. Unlike the previous externally mounted launchers, it was not exposed to enemy fire, being reloaded from within the vehicle through a hinged breech. When not in use, it could simply be sealed by an armored plug. Aiming was by periscopes located on the turret and cupola. All turret hatches and openings were to be closed when the round was fired. The device was first mounted in March of 1944 on a Panther tank, and it was very successful. Later, it became a standardized weapon and was equipped on a large variety of late-war German tanks, including the Maus tank. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.